Hello, welcome to Cycling Tips. Dave here. Welcome to the 2022 Tour de France coverage from us here at Cycling Tips, and welcome to, well, the UAE Team Emirates team hotel, because I am here to have a look at not one but two very fancy bikes that belong to a gentleman who may be going for another GC win here at the Tour. That's right, they have said they're going to lend me not just his road bike, the new Prototipio, I think that's how you pronounce it, basically the new V4 RS road bike and his time trial bike. Let's take a look. Alright, let's delve into the tech details, because as I've just said, this thing is probably going to be called the V4 RS. It is definitely going to be replacing the V3 RS as the Italian manufacturer's all-round race-ready road bike. And like a lot of all-round race-ready road bikes of late, this thing is not just relatively light, but also incorporating aero design tweaks. Now, how have they done that? Well, like a lot of bikes at the moment, there's truncated tubes, that down tube, that seat tube, both looking a little bit more aero. The head tube is also smaller in diameter, and yes, of course there's drop stays. But what's really interesting about this bike is this is not actually the finished version yet that Pogačar is riding. Believe it or not, Colnago have 5 different versions of this frame rolling around France at the moment, each with a different carbon layup. Now obviously this is to see which ones the riders like, but I'm guessing with a team being diminished to, well, very few riders at the moment, the one they're going to choose for production could very well be the only one that gets to Paris. Anyway, what is Pogačar using? Well, it's a full Italian build because he's got Campagnolo Super Record EPS on there. That 12-speed cassette on the rear is an 1129, matched to what looks like a 5439, which is odd because that's not actually in Campagnolo's catalogue. Wheels are also from Campagnolo. These are the Bora WTO45 tubeless wheels, but he's not running tubeless. His mechanics have actually installed lightweight TPU inner tubes. As for the contact points, up front the bar and stem is one piece. It's from another Italian company, Dede, and it's their Alanera model. No, them stickers on there from Richard Mille doesn't mean it's made by them. That's actually the team's very fancy watch sponsor. The saddle comes from Colnago, and it is not so much a custom one but a signature edition. It's the Scratch M5, and it looks like they need to update the design a little bit by adding last year's win as well. As for the final few bits and pieces on there, he is running Look Keo carbon pedals, and he also has the very popular in the peloton Elite Ligaro bottle cage. Oh, and if you're wondering what his crank length is, that's a 172.5. Right, onto his TT bike, because this one is another new one. It's the Colnago TT1, a bike that is replacing the K1 TT bike. This is a whole new breed of time trial bike, because back in 2020 the UCI changed their regulation rules on what was allowed to be incorporated in aero bike design. The Colnago is one of the first aero bikes, along with, I suppose, the Factor, that's taken the new rules into account when they've designed it. And this is where you're seeing wider, deeper tubing. Just look at them forks. The headset head tube steer is of a bayonet configuration, and them forks are ridiculously wide. Out back we have got some seriously low drop stays. Trek's speed concept frame does something very similar, but these are very extreme. That bottle cage and bottle is proprietary and 3D printed, but I've got to say, it looks a little bit rough and ready. I'm hoping that's not the finished product, because I know I would be a bit disappointed if I bought the bike and got it looking like that. The equipment is exactly the same sponsors as he has on his road bike. Campagnolo Super Record EPS group set on there. Another 1129 cassette, matched to what was actually branded up as a 58 chainring up front, but I can't believe that because that's huge. One thing that doesn't look particularly aero though is that chain catcher up front. His tri-bars are custom made and neatly tuck away that SRM PC8 head unit. Saddle again is from Colnago. As for the wheels, Campagnolo again, we've got the WTO 80 up front and the WTO TT on the rear. They've got Pirelli P0 tyres on there in a 28mm. There we have it, two very fancy bikes. What do you reckon? Is there still that Colnago rich heritage running through the veins of them bikes, or is it all changed for this new era where, well, Colnago are winning the tours? Because Tej is the first rider ever to win the tour on a Colnago, believe it or not. Let us know what you think of the bikes below. Gotta say, I'm liking the new road bike very much. TT bike, well, it's a TT bike, innit? Fast and chunky looking. As always, do the old clicky of the buttons, like, subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching and enjoy your riding and enjoy the tour.